Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Maryland's Cafe Society's webcast. Today is Thursday. It's April the 7th, and I'm here to share some entertainment news. Yes, my eyes are red because I have been tearing up once again when it comes to this American Idol contest. Oh, my goodness. Well, to start the show off, of course, the first three called up by Ryan Seacrest was Casey, Stefano, and Lauren. Only to announce that Stefano was one of the first to enter the bottom three. We then had a performance by Constantine Morales. He was one of the Idol contestants from Idol Season 4. Next, Ryan calls up Paul and Scotty and Tia. And oh my goodness, we discovered that Tia was in the bottom three. And then, of course, James, Haley, and Jacob were called last, and Jacob, I know, a shocker, was announced to be in the bottom three. Well, if that wasn't shock enough, between Stefano, Tia, and Jacob, oh my goodness, at this point, anyone who was sent home, of course, America would be shocked, right? Well, guess who it was? It was Tia. The judges were upset, clearly. And, they just stressed to the audience, those listening, particularly at home, watching at home, how important it is for you to vote for your favorite contestant because they really did not feel it should have been Tia being sent home. I said, who should it have been? Because they're all, at this point, very stellar. However, she, of course, has been sent home. I don't think it's the end of the road for Tia. She's, shown her talent over the past few weeks, and I'm sure that someone's going to pick her up and do some exciting things with her. But shocker. And, those young people, well, you know how we are, the young people. We wear our feelings on our sleeves, and we show our emotions. And, of course, there was the crying and the hugging at the end, and just a very different Idol, I think, this season. And I'm enjoying it, by the way. All right, and so what about Dancing with the Stars? Did you see it yesterday? Of course, I think we all kind of knew it was going to be Wendy Williams. She said it. She can't dance. I don't think she's as bad as some of the others in the past, but she didn't make it through to the next round. I'm sort of disappointed because I really thought that her personality would at least carry her a few more rounds. I wanted, and I only wanted to see how she would improve as a dancer, but we won't get to see it because Wendy is now back to her television talk show full time. So that's Dancing with the Stars, and then of course the next in entertainment news is Celebrity Apprentice, and I was sort of eating the popcorn watching it this past Sunday. Now, their assignment was to create works of art that would be sold in their own art gallery, and then one big project was to create or design a baseball cap that would also be auctioned off or awarded an amount of money. And so, of course, the project manager was Marley for the women and John Rich for the men. And John came flat out and told them it's going to be all about raising dollars in this particular campaign because, that was the whole point of creating the art and then selling it in the art gallery. And so he asked everyone to pull out their Rolodexes, if people still have them these days, to, call up their money friends because they needed to raise money. Jose Canseco had to leave the show because his dad was ill and had taken a turn for the worse. And so sadly, he was gone. And then Marley, of course, called LaToya to the carpet because she, thought that of all the ladies, she was one of the ones who may be questionable in terms of contributing to the team. And so she wanted to see LaToya step up and do some things. Okay, now for the real drama, right? The biggest drama, I think, this season on The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice, that is, has been happened this Sunday, and that, of course, is with Meatloaf. Oh my gosh! And Gary, right? I really thought that they were going to physically fight, but Meatloaf had some supplies that were missing, and assumed that Gary was the one who took them. And boy, did he go off on him. Well, later on, it was discovered that it was merely misplaced. Although I wonder if someone was behind the scenes kind of manipulating things there, but there was a tender moment later on in the show when Meatloaf sucked it all up and apologized to Gary, and I thought Gary was so wonderful with his and so the men performed stellarly under the leadership of John Rich. They arrived to their art gallery well ahead of schedule and had everything set up. There were lines of people standing outside of the gallery waiting for them to open. The women, on the other hand, were running behind schedule. They arrived late to the art gallery, and then the art had not even arrived yet. So there was a little delay there, some tension building. Of course, Nene and Star were having their moments as well. But fast forward to the boardroom, and of course, Federico was on board to judge the caps that each team had to design, and Latoya's cap won. In fact, that particular cap alone raised $99,000 for the charity, and then we know the huge step that she made on behalf of the women and the charity was to give up the T-shirt, her one and only T-shirt that was designed and signed by her late brother, Michael Jackson. So she really stepped up for the team this go-around. All right, and so after the announcement was made about the cap, which was, by the way, really beautiful, it was time to assess each team and their performance and how much each team raised and won. And, of course, Donald Trump announced that this was this season broke a record out of all of the seasons of the various apprentices over the years in terms of how much money they raised. Keep it real quick, the women won, raising with the money that Donald Trump donated to the charity, $1,643,000. Amazing. And then the men raised a little more than $626,000 for their charity. Of course, they lost in this task, and Donald kind of made things a little bit interesting by inviting the women to stay in the boardroom and also giving Marley, who was project manager for her team, the opportunity to decide whether or not, they wanted the men to lose a person on that particular episode due to the fact that Jose Canseco had to leave. Marley strategically declined, and of course, someone had to be fired. And in the end, it was Richard Hatch. He just did not raise enough money in the task, and he was gone. He was fired. All right, and so that's it for the Celebrity Apprentice. I think that we're in for more drama next week between Star and Nene, my personal opinion. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Well, listen, we got to run. I do want to remind you that we will be on the radio this Saturday. That's April 9th from noon to 2 as usual, doing our usual thing. I certainly hope you will join us there. And I want to just toast to doing big things. I just happened to flip through the channels earlier this week and caught one of the afternoon talk shows. I think it was a talk, and they had one of my favorite inspirational gospel groups on, Mary. It's a duo, actually, and they performed a song from their new CD, Walking. And, of course, they talked about doing big things, and so here's a toast to you, Mary, and anyone else out there who likes to do things big, all right? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, listen, I got to leave. But before I do, I got to tell you, as I always do, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. We'll talk again on Saturday. Good night.